Hi there, my name is Mark Pringle and I work for Capital Theatres, where I am the head flyman at the Festival Theatre. This is a position that I've held for about 12 years or so, but I've actually worked at the Festival Theatre since the first year we opened in 1994. I started on the stage crew and I was with those guys for about 5 or 6 years, and then I ascended to the lofty heights of the fly floor, where I've pretty much been ever since. So when we refer to flying from an audience member's point of view, we would refer to everything that you see that moves up and down above the stage, although we call in and out. And this is facilitated by the use of our counterweight flying system, which is essentially a huge set of scales that's made up of 75 steel pipe bars that run the whole width of the stage from one wing to the other and from the front of the stage to the back. And each one of these 75 bars moves independent of one another, and each one is capable of holding up to 400 kilos worth of weight, each one with its own counterweight cradle as well. So the theory being that when the bar comes into the floor, where the necessary attachments are hung, be it lighting equipment, speakers, scenery, cloths, when the bar comes all the way into the floor, the cradle goes all the way to the roof. If you're hanging 200 kilos worth of lights onto the bar, you must also put 200 kilos worth of counterweights into the cradle so that those pieces can then balance out and that bar becomes operable. When I say operable, I mean movable, easily movable, like a set of scales. As Graham and Tony have already touched upon, when we do a fit up, unlike those guys, they work primarily with the same department from the visiting company. So the electrics work with the electrics, the stage crew work with the stage crew from the visiting companies. I work with all of the departments because all of those departments all have things that are hung on the bars. So I receive what looks like a massive shopping list with a list of where everything should be, what each item is called, its dimensions, and an approximation of the weight. So unlike those guys, I get to work with each department, which is pretty cool. Most people that we have in the building are there for maybe a week, 2 weeks, sometimes on rare occasions, like Scottish Ballet Camera and Macintosh might be there for about a month, but most of the time, just a week. And that's what helps to keep it fresh, because no two shows are really the same. It changes vastly from week to week. Get to meet loads of different people, which is one thing that probably helps to keep us all there. So some weeks, on average, there'll be maybe 2 or 3 people with me flying, moving pieces during the show. On a bigger show, there can be as many as 15 people, I think is the most that I've had, where there's 15 things that are all moving. But on average, there's maybe 2 or 3 people with me. Sometimes it's just myself. Like I say, it's all show dependent and no two shows are exactly the same. The Festival Theatre has been a huge home to me since I left school. It's also where I met my wife, Isabel. She's the Associate Director of La Ballet Trocadero de Monte Carlo. I don't have too much time to really delve into all of the ins and outs of flying. I hope that we're going to save a bit of that for the question and answer that we're going to do on Zoom at some point. But I'd just like to kind of leave you today with a funny story. These are some of the things that 99% of the funny stories I can't tell you, but here's one that I quite like that I can share with you. When I was leaving work one night, what can only be described as a quintessential Scottish old granny was waiting at stage door collecting autographs, and she brandished open her program and said to me, "Can you sign my program, please, son?" And I said, "Oh no, I shouldn't sign your program. I'm not a singer or a dancer or in the band." And she said, "Well, what is it that you do?" And I said, to break it down most simply so that anybody would understand, I said, "Well, you know the great big red curtain at the front of the stage? Well, I make that move up and down." And she looked at me and said, "That's good enough for me, son. Get it signed." So I signed her program. Those are the little moments that helps to keep that job fresh for me. And it let me know that she'd thoroughly enjoyed her evening at the theatre. Anyway, like I say, hopefully I'll have more time to go into the ins and outs of flying when we do the question and answer. But for now, we hope from everybody here at Capital Theatres, we hope that you're all staying safe and well, and we look forward to welcoming you back to our venues as soon as we possibly can. Until then, take care and stay safe. Thank you.